Hi, I'm Jordan Laurel, and welcome to my show where we make the human experience magical through mental health, mindset, and manifestation. My story is one of radical transformation and rebirth. From depressed, disempowered, and dependent to flourishing within an incredible life I've created, this podcast is me sharing my process of overcoming and creating a magical human experience to help support you as you do the same. Tune in every Monday to feel empowered through stories, wisdom, and lots of super practical tips. Because I am proof you can change your entire life and manifest a life beyond your wildest dreams. Welcome to the Magical Human Experience podcast. Welcome back to the podcast, friends. I am so excited for you guys to hear this week's episode. I say that every week pretty much, but I truly am, I think, just more and more excited about the conversations I'm having and people I'm meeting. And like, honestly, that you guys know, that's my worldview. Like, it just gets to get better and better and better. Not that obviously we don't have hardship and struggle, but it's an upward trajectory over here. That's all I'm available for. And it's just been really cool to see. I'm just more and more turned on and lit up by what I'm doing and the conversations I'm having and the people I'm meeting in my life and just who I'm becoming. It's just, it's all exciting and magical. And this week's conversation is with such an inspiring woman. I met her, and we go into our story a little bit in the episode, but I met Dileiny on a brand trip, and you guys know I'm all about choosing what I'm going to create. And so I was thinking thoughts and feeling feelings aligned with having an amazing time, everything going well, meeting great people, having fun, getting good content. But, there's still that what happened in the past, it always, at least pokes its head as a thought. And I was just like, I hope that these are great girls on this trip. Like, it would just be way more fun to just get a lot of connection and good conversation out of it as well. Obviously, it was going to be fun anyway and be great to learn more about the brand and get fun winter content. But it's always a plus when there's community involved. I am so big on community, and just the relationships in my life are adding so much love and joy and fulfillment to my life right now. And I knew one girl going on the trip. I knew she was great. I had met her through a friend, actually through Jean, who, if you missed my episode on how to call in your soulmate humans and build aligned community, we did a whole episode 39. But I met her through Jean because Jean is a great connector, and I knew she was going to be on the trip, but I didn't know anybody else. I didn't know who else. I hadn't asked, and so I was kind of like, okay, hopefully it's not. I've had experiences where girls are very just exclusive and snobby and catty and mean girl vibes, and so I was like, I'm hoping it's not that. It could be, but I am going to just put out that I'm going to meet great people and have a good time. If not with most of the group, at least with Brittany. And I was just so pleasantly surprised because that first night I sat down at dinner and I met Dileiny and I met several other women and just had fantastic conversation about their stories and what they've learned and who they are and what they are creating in the world. And it was just like deep conversations. And I really connected with Dileiny because we were both married. So we'd both gone through divorces, and we also both, everybody in the room took a risk on themselves to some degree, starting their blog/social media platforms and going full time with it. But Dileiny started when she was 35. She's in her early 40s, which, by the way, I was just like, no. There's no way. I actually thought she was probably younger than me because she has the most stunning, youthful skin. And I was like, there's no way you're in your 40s with your skin looking that good. And it made sense, though, with just how much depth she had. Not that you need to be old to have depth, but oftentimes the more experience you go through, the more depth you have. And not your average human has as many experiences as both her and I have before hitting 30 that really just made us go deep and do the work and shaped us. And it just creates a lot of depth. And her story it's so inspiring. And I knew after having it, I was like, I think I need to share this on the podcast. I think we need to talk about this and really go into this because I know for me, and I shared this in the episode, so not to repeat myself, but other women sharing their stories going through divorce and taking a risk on themselves, building their own business, anything that I've gone through, other women talking about it and also giving me hope because they're posting about being on the other side. So like sharing the joy of after divorce, finding the love of their life, which is why it's so important for us to celebrate our wins and talk about them and share them because it shows other people what's possible for them, the right people. And it's been so powerful to me. And so I thought that you guys would really love her story. She just has a beautiful heart, but then also she has a blended family because she has a child from her first marriage and now a child in her second marriage. And just also the starting, being willing to do anything at any age. There was just so many things that I was just like, damn, this girl. So I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you really connect with Dileiny and her story. It really is beautiful. And she's been such a kind, supportive friend, even just in knowing her now for like a month or two. She's been really wonderful, and I can't wait to get to know her better. But yeah, before we dive into the episode, though, I did want to share this week's magic. And this week's magic is, you guys know, I love Parfums de Marly, their perfume. Well, they just launched a new one, and I was at the event last week, and I got to try it, and it is so uplifting and refreshing and energizing, and I am just in love. The bottle is like grapefruit orange, so it's really beautiful to look at. It's like a really just uplifting color to look at. You know what's so funny? The subconscious is a funny thing. I actually realized I just requested a blazer in like almost the same shade from a brand. I was about to say I should get a top in this color because it makes me happy to look at it. And then I was like, wait a second, I actually already requested something in this color or similar color. But it really is. You guys know I don't wear a ton of color, but when I do, it does something for me. Like red makes me feel sexy and in my power and like a badass boss babe. And this color makes me feel just like joy. So the bottle, but the fragrance, the scent, it is so crisp and fresh and just, it makes me really happy, clearly. And I've been enjoying spraying it in the mornings, especially because I feel like I am not a morning girl. I have my habit stacking routine, which I know I mentioned last week, and I need to do a little bit more of a deep dive into that. And I think I'll do it in next week's Magic of the Week, but this episode, my solos are shorter, so I didn't want to go fully into that in this one for the intro because we had a nice long conversation for this episode. But anyway, I've been habit stacking, so I love my morning routine with habit stacking, but I don't know, I'm so groggy in the mornings, and like our cortisol levels are actually the highest in the morning, and so I have to do the work to get myself in a good headspace. My habit stacking routine does such a great job for that, but this really just takes it up another level. It's another, I've only had it for a week, but I've been traveling. I got it when I was in New York, so I've only been home for a few days, and I had a very fun weekend actually with some really amazing dates, but I'm so thrown off my schedule from traveling and then like late nights out on the town. So I'm coming back into my morning routine here, but I started using it in the mornings last week after getting it, and definitely going to be keeping it as part of my habit stacking routine from now on because it just is an injection of joy and wakes you up a bit. So I'm a fan. It's adding some magic to my life right now and wanted to share it because I know you girlies love anything that supports you in feeling better. And for me, anything that helps me feel joy in the mornings is a win. I will have that linked in the show notes, but without any further chatting, let's dive into the episode. Welcome to the podcast, Dileiny.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited to have you on. So for those of you who are tuning in, Dileiny and I were on a brand trip together in Canada a few weeks back, and it's a little scary going on brand trips sometimes, you know.
Yes.
You can relate, I'm sure. There's a lot of women who can be catty or just really unfriendly. They think they're God's gift to mankind.
Yes.
But then I met you and
exactly.
amazing other women who were just so real, and we had such an amazing conversation, and your story was so inspiring to me and also overlaps with mine a bit. And I was like, okay, I feel like my audience here would absolutely love to hear your story.
Yes. So first of all, this year I was like, I need to be on a podcast and I need to tell my story. I don't want to tell my story to brag about myself. I want to tell my story to have girls relate and be like, listen, I did this and I literally feel like I started from the bottom and now I'm here. And so I woke up literally January 1st and was like, I'm going to be on a podcast this year. I'm blowing up this year. Like I'm doing all the things.
Yes.
And it's just been like a rebirth, honestly, in all terms, friendships, career, family, finances, everything. It's just like I woke up and was like, I want all these things and it's going to happen for me. And then I meet you on this trip and we talk and it's just like you just confirm so many things. Like, okay, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So it was great.
I love when the universe just confirms. You're just like, you get those things that happen, the synchronicities, and you're like, okay, I'm on the right path. It's all working out.
Yes.
We're going the right direction.
Yes. And you were like that confirmation. And like you said, these brand trips, I wouldn't say that I'm scared to go on them, but I can see why they would be scary or intimidating and stuff. But like, I automatically, which is not a good thing that I do, but like I kind of go in kind of shut down because I know who I am. Like I'm humble, and I know that influencers get a bad rep, right? Like you're taking pictures and selfies and you're into yourself and da 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 da. So I already go in with that mindset, which is crazy because I'm an influencer and I'm not like that.
Yeah.
But like I kind of go in shut down. So to meet like girls that, you know, we're on the same wavelength. Like the second I met Rebecca, it was just like instant connection. We just automatically started talking deep stuff. And I was just like, love this girl. Like, so glad I found her. Same with you. And all four of us ended up sitting right next to each other. All the four girls that were like authentic, genuine, had stories, wanted like depth. We all sat next to each other.
It's wild to me the way I feel like I'm living in this flow where everything is just working out so well. And I really think, and you know, when you were sharing with me your story and just the conversations we've had, like you are such a good manifester, and it really comes down to your energy.
Yes.
You attract what you are.
Exactly.
And what you embody. And I think that all four of us were really in good energy, looking to connect with amazing, like-minded women. And like we all manifested each other.
I was just like, I need to talk real stuff. I don't want surface things. Like, let's sit down, let's talk. Who are you?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened at that dinner. And now we're freaking here. And it's just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
This is crazy.
It's so crazy. And guys, she showed up in this bright, it was like an orange red. I don't even know which color it was. Like tracksuit with like a blazer on top.
It. Yeah.
She looked so chic. I was like, oh my God, who is this woman who styled our like I love the loungewear. It's so like I work from home.
But it's loungewear. So and I'm always like, wait, how can I elevate this? Like that's always my thing. Like how can I make this chic? And I threw on the blazer, and my husband's like, "What are you doing?" And then I was trying it on at home. He's
love
like,
mixing.
Actually, throw it on with some Converses. I feel like it's cool. I'm like, got it, done.
It looked
and it got
so
much
good.
attention. The outfit.
Yeah, it did. Everybody was complimenting you.
Yeah.
And I was just like, damn, inspo. So if you guys want to see her outfit, you need to go to her feed. I'll have everything linked in the show notes. But
Thank you.
No, you looked fire.
Thank you.
And you were wearing fire as a color.
Yes. And fire. I'm Sagittarius.
Oh, that's right. We did talk about that night.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, that night, guys, I was so inspired by her story. Can you just take us back to when you were married?
Yes.
And this is how we connected because we both went through
a
divorce. Yeah. Can you just share your story?
Okay.
Because I think it's so inspiring. And for me personally, so actually comment on influencers and bad raps. I feel like I have a good overall view of social media more and more.
Okay.
Because what got me through my divorce was, do you know the Birds Papaya?
No.
So she is a big influencer. She does a lot of body positivity.
Okay.
She's in Canada, actually.
Oh,
I didn't think
okay.
about that. But she was also raised in a very strict Christian community, like I had been, and she got divorced, and she was sharing her life after and how happy she was in love with her new partner and the family they were building, and a blended family, which I know you're also managing that. And just seeing her was like light at the end of the tunnel. And so I think it's about using
yourself.
Using your platform for good though, and like using it to be real. Like, and yes, we can be aspirational and, you know, inspire people in terms of style or lifestyle or whatever it is. I think there's nothing wrong with being aspirational as opposed to relatable sometimes, but I think how you can be really relatable in a way that matters is by sharing your story. And
1,000%. And you guys inspired me to share my story. I ended up coming home and doing a get ready with me, like doing my makeup. And I was like, that was because of you guys.
Aww.
And the post did so well. Like people were sending me messages for days. Like,
oh my goodness,
this is such a good story. Like we want to know more. And I'm like, okay, I need to do more of these. But it was you guys who pushed me to do that. Because normally I'm just sharing style tips and keeping it very surface. Like, but now I'm just like craving, like, no, you need to know who I am.
Yes.
Like, I'm not just fashion tips. Like I have a whole life behind me. So.
And that's what people will connect so much with. And and just find inspiration, because it really is seeing the women who have walked through the hard things that we are going through that for me has always helped me and given me that hope that, okay, if they can do it, I can do it too.
Yes. So my story is I was married at 23 years old, pregnant. I had a condo, was married, I had a full-time job, I graduated college, like all the things.
Young, yeah.
By 23 years old.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. So by 25, I was like 2 years in. Mind you, this is like, we've been together since we were teenagers. Like, so we've been together a while already, but we're just like doing all the things that we think we're supposed to be doing. You know, buying a home, having a kid, all that stuff. But 2 years into the marriage, having my son, it was just, I felt like a robot. I was like, okay, I'm coming home from work, I'm making dinner, we're going to bed. Like, it was just every day the same thing. And no shade to my ex-husband because he's amazing, but I just wasn't happy. And it wasn't him, it was me. Like, I just felt so bored and like...
Girl, I relate. I think that it's so important to talk about how there is nothing wrong with that. No. And there's nothing wrong with if that kind of lifestyle does light you up.
1,000%.
But it's the fact that we feel bad. Because I don't know if you were feeling bad about it, but I knew I felt bad that I was bored with my life too.
Yeah, so a little background on my upbringing. My mother had me when she was 17 years old. She's a teenage mom. Okay. By the time she was 23, she had 3 children, working, cooking, home. My dad, like, they had this whole life 6 years before I had that. So to her, it was like, oh, you're old. Like, you're grown. Like, you only have 1 kid. I had 3 by the time, you know? So there was a lot of pressure on that side. Like, you have to be married. Like, you're doing the right thing. Like, what are you going to do if you leave him? Like, you're going to start over. Now you're a single mom. So I had all these things in my mind. Like, I don't want to break my son's home. I don't want to disappoint my family. His family was also Hispanic. And they had, you know, their reservations about everything. Like, no, you guys are in this. That's it. Like, this is your life.
Yeah, divorce isn't a thing.
No, divorce is not
culture.
A thing. Yeah. Like, my parents are still together. They've been through hell and back. His parents were together for 30 plus years. Like, yeah, nobody gets divorced. It doesn't matter what you're going through. So I had just had it. And I was like, I'm on this earth for this little bit of time, and this is what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to work, cook, clean, and that's it. There was no traveling. We were too young. We were broke. Like, we had a condo that cost just as much as my salary a month. So my salary alone covered the condo, and his was eating, daycare. Like, there was nothing for us to do but pay bills and live. So I was just like, I can't do this. And as hard as it was, like, to have to do that, I had to. Yeah. Like you said to me, like, I want you to talk about things where you chose yourself. And it's like, I never thought about it that way.
That's what we're doing. And that's what we need to not feel bad about. And why I'm so excited to, like, have you continue to share what's happened in your life and where you're at now. Because for me and just my experience, and it sounds like for you and yours, and I think it's safe to say for most women, like, I think we feel bad. We feel 100%. Bad for wanting more, or for wanting to choose what makes us happy and to choose ourselves. And that is literally the opposite of what it should be.
Right. So I chose myself in that sense, with all the guilt I had for my son. He was just 2 years old. For all the guilt I had for my ex, because he thought, you know, he thought this was it. Like, this is his life. And he was okay with that. And he didn't need to travel. And he was happy at his job. Like you said, not everybody, like, that's a fine life for some people. It just wasn't for me. Yeah. And so I lost friends. I lost family. My mom didn't talk to me for a long time.
Oh, wow.
Because I was hard. Like, I'm done. Yeah. Like, I can't do this anymore. And it was miserable. Like, divorce is miserable.
Yeah, it is not a walk in the park.
It's not fun. It's like, why the hell am I doing this? Yeah. And, like, through the process, I was like, am I making a mistake? Like, because this is fucking awful. This is worse than being a robot. Yeah. But I think that, like, the beauty is once you get through that and you're just like, this is what I knew. Yes. Yeah. My life was supposed to be. Once we got through, like, the like the nitty gritty of the divorce. And like, I was on my own and I'm a single mom, but I have free weekends because we shared custody. I started dating. I started traveling. I started being 27. Like,
oh my God, that's so crazy. You were divorced at 27.
divorced.
I was divorced at 29. It's so wild. It's so
you're
young.
Like, I'm young. Like,
Yeah.
what was I doing?
Right.
And then I really, those 5 years that I was by myself, I was so happy, but it's not all puppies and butterflies because dating is fucking awful. And I had really bad experiences. And I was like, I made a mistake. Like, I lost a good guy.
Oh, no.
Like, this is terrible. But I just kept pushing through. Like you said, like, once you value yourself and you're like, all right, I'm not dealing with this. Like, I know what I want. I know what I'm worth. And that led me to then like finding my voice, finding who I am, what do I want to do, and led me to blogging. Like, I used to share dating stories and
I love that.
Traveling and what I'm wearing. And that's kind of how all this happened. Wow. I don't know that it would have happened if I would have forced myself to stay put and live this wife, mom only lifestyle. It wasn't for me.
I feel like something so important to talk about is being nice versus being kind. And I actually was literally chatting with one of my girlfriends about that this morning. And I feel like as women, we feel bad to disappoint other people or to not make them happy. There's this pressure on us. I feel like we people please way more than men do. And we think we're being nice, but actually I don't want to be nice. I have stopped being nice in my life and I am having so much more happiness and success, and I'm giving so much more to the people in my life and to my purpose, to my clients. And I think back to my marriage and I was nice and I stayed in it for 3 more years than I wanted to be in it. And I got to the point that's not kind. Being nice isn't kind.
No.
Because I didn't want to have sex with him. I didn't want to hang out with him even by the end. I could not stand being around him.
Yeah.
Because we drifted apart so much. He was very controlling to me, which I get very avoidant if people are like controlling and clingy and
just
pushy.
Like hiding, like don't want to deal.
Yeah. I'm like, like give me my space.
Yeah.
And so, and you know, I'm not trying to trash him at all. He was a great man in a lot of ways and he really did his best. But I realized the kind thing was ending it because he deserved somebody that wanted to be with him and wanted to have sex with him and was in love with him and
1,000%.
wanted to spend time with him. Nice is actually not a good.
Nice.
It's not nice. Yeah. When you think about it, you're trying to. It's codependent. You're trying to protect people from pain and disappointment. But as you're sharing with your story, the pain that you went through got you to where you are now. Like it's what gets us what we actually want.
Right. 100%. And like I said, like the nitty gritty of it and like sitting there and I'm alone and I was alone for 5 years and I'm not meeting anybody. And my son, like, what did I do to him? Like now he has a broken home. Like I beat myself up.
Oh, girl.
It was not a fun thing to go through. And I always say that to anybody who's going through a divorce. Like it's fucking awful.
Yeah.
It's not fun at all. Like really know what you're doing and like that you're sure. But I just knew my purpose was not this. And I'm a mother. I've been a mother. I got remarried and I have that life now. Like I have a house. I cook and clean and but I also have me.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have that before. Like the person that I ended up meeting lets me be me. And like, I don't know that could have happened in my previous marriage.
It's a trust fall. It's a trust fall with yourself and with the universe. And I think, what do you think how did you know? Was it just a deep feeling that you had in you? Or was it you really got clear on, it sounded like you did some clarity work, which step 1 of manifestation, clarity, like it's so important. But you got clear and you realized how unaligned it was, or kind of both?
How did I know? I think that I've always been like a deep thinker. And so I kind of just like your soul just knows. I don't know how to explain it except that. Just in your head, like, girl, this ain't it.
Yeah.
Like,
you just know. I feel like I'm the same too. I just knew.
I just knew. And like, that's how it is for everything I do. For anybody I meet, I'm not about bullshit.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to curse?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's so funny. Everybody asks that.
I'm not, like, if I'm at the event, I'm coming in, like, I'm not going to bullshit with you about bullshit.
You want to get deep.
And it's not to say, listen, I'm actually really not that deep a lot of times. I like to have fun. I let loose. I'm dancing. I'm partying. I'm like funny.
You got to be silly.
Yeah. Like I'm all those things a lot of the time. But like when it comes to people and energy, like I don't fuck around with that. Like if there's like one little thing that in my gut says something is off, I just keep it moving. Where when I was younger, maybe not so much. But now there's just like I go into it like, okay, I feel you. All right, you're good.
Yeah.
Like if that is not there, we're not talking.
Same.
And that's intimidating to some people. But when you're in the right energy and alignment, it's not. You're, like you said, you have great energy. Some people would be like, oh, well, because we're not on the same length. Like we're not on the same wavelength.
Yep. Well, and I hear that you have an abundance mindset in so many ways. And I think that takes, first of all, you have to be pretty good within yourself, but you have to be in an abundance and faith mindset and know, like, I trust so deeply. And we all get wobbly from time to time. We all get insecure or shaken or whatever. But for the most part, I am so happy and proud of who I am. I've worked so hard to be a person that I'm proud of, that I love and trust. And I know if I am not meshing with somebody, like, I'm not missing out. Yeah. It's okay. I can let go. Yeah.
I'm not phased. You're not phased. Everything's great.
Yeah.
That's how I am with everything. Like with work, collaborations come my way. If it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be.
And this is why you're such a great manifester. Released energy.
Yeah. A friend wants to, screw me over, whatever. Like we're just not vibing. That's okay.
Right.
You go your way, I go mine. I know that I'm always going to be good. That's just my...
I love that. Yes.
Yeah.
You have self-trust.
Yeah.
Which is do you feel like you had that self-trust when you were going through your divorce, or do you think that's maybe what built it?
I think that's what built it, honestly. Like whatever I had in me to be like, this is not it. After that, hell...
You're like, I got my back.
Like, guys, I'm good. Like, who's going to support me? Me. Like, that's who. Like, I went through hell, and I've been through hell. And... I'm here and I'm fine and everything's good. And I just, even though I'm deep, like I'm always also like, it's not that serious.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because it's all working out.
Yeah.
It's funny that it's the depth that allows you to be light.
Yes. That's such a good way to put it. Because I'm always like, I don't want to get so deep. I want to have fun. Yeah. But you're right. It is what makes you be light. That you're just like, I know everything's going to be fine. It's going to work out the way it's supposed to. I know I'm going to blow up this year. Like, that's literally what I've been saying to myself.
What you
and
speak
people
to
are
yourself
like,
is,
okay, girl. I'm like, you'll see.
Yep. Like, oh my God, I love your energy again.
Yes.
Okay, so I wanted to go back on what you were saying there for a second. With the self-trust, I feel like I also feel similarly. Like it was going through those hard things and seeing I had my back. Because first of all, I think we're on the same page. It's all always working out, even the hard things. But even when the hard things come, the self-trust also says to you, no matter what happens, even if it is hard, I got my back.
Yes.
So I think it's that combination of knowing it is all ultimately working out, but even the stuff that feels like shit hitting the fan and feels really shitty and difficult and like, was not a walk in the park, you can handle that too.
Yeah.
So you're not afraid of, oh, well, what if it doesn't work out? Like, well, it is working out, but also I can handle it. I'm capable.
Everything that is hard is just helping you for the next step in your life. Like me going through that divorce, going against my family, going against everybody, losing friends. My own mother stopped talking to me. It was really a hard time in my life. But then fast forward, I'm married. I have my second child. I'm working. Everything's going good. I'm blogging on the side. And then I have this, like, I'm not happy working for somebody else. Like, I need to do more. Like I'm not supposed to be working for somebody 9 to 5, sitting at a desk, wasting my life away. And it was remembering like the hard times you've been through, like this is going to be nothing. So go for it. Was I scared? 100%. Did I call my dad? Yes. Aww. And had that, like him pushing me, and no shade on my mom because I love her and she's like my biggest fan. But she was even like, you're 35 years old. That ship has sailed. What do you mean you're going to leave your job?
Yeah.
You have your kids' health insurance. Like, You make a good salary, like everything is like everything's great. People want what you have. You have this great marketing job. You're making all this money. You know, you have it easy. You have a great husband. Like everything's perfect.
Oh God, this is what I wanted to say earlier too, and I forgot to come back to it. Is the shame that we get and the push people for wanting more, for knowing we're meant for more and we want more, and people just love to push you down and be like, "Why aren't you happy?" And it's like, I am so fucking grateful, and I have insane dreams and insane things that I'm checking off my box or checking off boxes
and it's
for.
like I said, like I love my mom, I love my family, but they are projecting their fear.
Yeah.
So
how did you deal with this stuff practically when your mom stopped talking to you, or when, you know, you guys clearly worked through things and then you're starting your blog at 35, which I want to talk way more about that. But like, how did you deal with people trying to talk you out of making the decisions that you knew were right for you?
Like face-to-face conversations, when they would say these things to me, I would kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, shut down. Like, I would just be like, but I would listen, and it would instill some fear in me. Like, maybe they are right. Maybe I am crazy. Like, who starts over at 35 years old? Like, it is true. How am I going to make this much money? So then you start questioning yourself.
Yeah.
But then I would basically be like, yeah, like in like my mom's face, or anybody, you know, who was against, even my own husband. He's so supportive, but he was scared too. He was kind of like, well, how are we going to pay our rent? At that time we were renting. Like, how are we going to pay for daycare if we don't have your salary? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I literally was like, I don't know, but I need to do this.
This girl's faith mindset, you guys. This girl, I love it though. Yeah. It really is. Most of what we want lies on the other side of our comfort zone, and we have to face fear, and there's risk involved, but it wasn't like you didn't calculate the risk.
No, I calculated, and my dad helped me with that. My dad's always been an entrepreneur, and my dad takes risks, so he was the perfect person to call. Like, that last day, I was like, I can't take this anymore. Like, I'm literally hysterical crying in my car, driving to work, same thing. Like,
unhappiness is a sign something's not right. If you're not happy, you're not fulfilled, or you're bored, that's your body and your brain telling you something's not in alignment.
And I just called my dad, and he's like, I'm like hysterical crying, like, I cannot do this. I sit at a desk for 8 hours. I punch in numbers. I'm miserable. And like, I can't leave because of health insurance, and I can't leave because of money, and I can't leave because I have kids and I'm 35, and how am I going to start over? And my dad was like, listen, go in there. Let's make a plan. Give yourself 6 months. Once you tell your boss, I'm leaving, you have a date. You start saving. You start hustling. You start figuring out, what are you going to do if you don't have that, you know, money to pay your bills? So I was like, okay, so make a 6-month plan. Okay, I can do that. And I'm like, yeah, but what if I get no clients? What if this all tanks? And he's like, move back home. Like, straight up. And I was like, are you crazy?
You're like, I'm not
moving back home. I have kids. I have a family. How crazy is that? I'm going to move back with my parents. And he's like, do you know how many people wish they had parents to fall back on? He's like, you should be grateful that I'm telling you that you can come back home.
And
damn. I was like, well, when you put it that way, I was kind of like, damn, he's right. Like, what is the worst that could happen? I get another job in marketing. I call my company and be like, hey guys, I fucked up. I'm coming back.
Right.
They would have taken me back.
Right.
So when I put it like that, I was like, all right, this is not that serious. Again, like, it's not that serious. I'm going to quit. And I got this. I didn't even tell my husband that I was putting in my notice.
Oh, girl.
Because I didn't want to be deterred.
I
didn't call my mother. I knew the people that are scared.
Yes.
And I didn't call them.
And you don't want fear when you're making a decision like that.
I called the perfect person, my dad.
I love that.
And I don't know what it was. Like, if it was just like, girl, you're going to do this and you know who you got to call. And so that pushed me. And then the rest is like, I didn't tell my husband. I didn't tell my mom. I put in my notice. When I got home that night, I went to my husband and I was like, I have to tell you something. And he's like, what? And I was like, I put in my notice for work. And he was like, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah, I put in a 6-month notice. So we got 6 months to hustle, save money, cover my portion of the bills. And then, like, are you going to be okay with maybe picking up a little bit of the slack. And he was just like, you gotta have a backup plan. I'm like, I'll drive Uber. He's like, you are not driving Uber. I was like, yes, I am. I don't care. I'm that serious.
Yep.
He literally that weekend was like, download Uber and you're driving Uber and I want to see that this is your real backup plan. I was like, okay. I literally drove Uber for a weekend.
I'm dead.
Dead.
Girl.
My husband was like, you've got to be kidding me. He knew I was dead serious when I did that. And I was like, all right, going to drive Uber. I did it for 2 days. It was actually the fucking worst. For me, I'm not a good driver, and I was just like nervous the whole time. Like these people are gonna know I suck at driving, but I did it. I was that serious.
Damn,
and
I love that.
I made like $100 in like a weekend, and I told my husband like I made $100. Worst case scenario, I'm gonna drive Uber. He was like, all right. Like what was he gonna say?
Right.
I was that determined, so that's how it went. I told my boss. My boss was so cool. So before the boss that I ended up having when I left, I had a horrible boss actually.
Okay.
Before, who also was another person that pushed me to have a side thing.
Oh.
Because I was so miserable under him.
Okay. Yeah.
So I was just like, I need like some sort of happiness, like, and so that's why I started my blog, like, and I was writing on the side because it was like joy for me. He ended up leaving, and then I got a new boss who was amazing.
Well, wait, walk us through. Okay, so you got divorced at 27.
Yes.
Talk me through a little bit those few years, how you met because you obviously
remarried.
got married.
Yeah.
Happily, it seems.
Yes.
And then you started your blog. Just catch us up a little bit on the story.
Okay.
How all of that transpired.
27 to 30-ish, 31, I was alone, dating, like on sites. Dating, not, things not going that great. I had a boyfriend for a year that was actually good, but he ended up moving to California. That didn't work out. And then I was on OkCupid, which I don't even know if it still exists.
Oh my God, yeah. That's so funny.
So I was on OkCupid. I met my now husband.
That's so funny. He was on OkCupid too.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's the first person I ever met from online dating. I used to use online dating more like as a distraction, like
just for
entertainment, because I would meet people out. Like one of the guys I dated for a while was he was the real estate agent for my company. Like he just happened to be in the building, and I was like, oh, he's good looking, and we ended up dating just from seeing each other. I met somebody at a bar. Like I would actually meet people out.
It's easy in New York. A lot easier than most places. Yeah.
Yeah. So then the online thing was more like, oh, this isn't working out. Let me see what's going on online. But I would never actually meet anyone. Like I wouldn't go and meet them. So my husband.
Wait, how long ago was this?
This was in 12, 20.
Oh, so OkCupid wasn't that? That's not a funny thing because that's what you guys were using back then.
Yeah,
okay. I'm laughing over here, and then I'm like, wait a second, this was a while ago actually.
No.
Okay.
It's OkCupid, and there was Plenty of Fish. And
oh my God.
And Match. Which Match was like, at that time was like, oh my God, if you're using Match, like
you're desperate.
That was that back then. Like online dating was so new.
Wow.
So I was dating somebody that was like a lot of red flags, and I was just like, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole of like dating somebody for a long time. It's just not going to work out. Like I need to move. Like I'm not doing this
You don't
anymore.
have time to waste.
Yeah, because at that point I had been dating for 5 years, and it's always like waiting and waiting to see, and like now you've wasted a year and 2 years with the same person and nothing ever like comes of it. So I was at that point was like, I'm done, like red flag, bye. So I immediately hopped online like for a distraction, and that's how my husband came into the picture, because I was just like texting with him all day and blah blah blah, and I'm like, okay, good distraction. And then he's like, hey, you want to be my Valentine? And I was like, no. And he's like, why not? What else are you doing? And I'm like, nothing, but like, I don't even know you. I've never met anybody online. And he was just like, oh, just come. He lived in the Lower East Side. He's like, just come to the Lower East Side. It could be the worst date ever, and we'll have a good Valentine's Day story, or it could be our anniversary.
Oh, I love that. I love that attitude.
Like, okay, fine. And like, I remember telling my coworkers like, oh, this guy, he wants me to meet him. This is so cheesy. And they're like, just go, girl. Like, you've been alone for so long already. Like, just go. And then the second I met him, again, like, you just know.
You just know.
Even though our first date was actually a little shaky, like, it didn't go so smooth. But like my first, like the second I saw him and like we connected, like it was just like, oh, this is home. Like that's what I felt.
I love that.
Yeah, he was just so kind and sweet and soft. And I'm like, this is what I need. And we ended up making it official like 3 days later after we met.
And then you got married.
And then we got married a few years later. We have our son, and we've been together 11 years now.
And how long after your son then did you decide to get into, what made you decide to start blogging too?
So,
I'm so curious.
I was not happy at my job.
Okay.
Initially, I went to school for English language and literature. Like I wanted to be a writer, and I was like, Carrie from Sex and the City, like maybe I'll write a column in the newspaper. Like I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just knew that I loved to write. So that's what I went to school for. But then obviously it's like, what am I going to do with this degree?
Sure.
So I got into marketing, blah, blah, blah. But I always had that like writing, like I would write poems. And when I started dating, I started a blog with my friends, like all of our single friends. And we used to write our dating stories. And so they would filter through me because I was like the editor. Like I would like make it funny and fix it and grammar and da-da-da-da.
Cute.
Yeah, so then that's how the blog started.
Okay.
It was just mainly dating stories. But once I got into a relationship, then my friend was in a relationship. We were like, what the hell are we going to talk about now? And I was like, well, let's talk fashion and like women's stuff. Like, so that's how, and then she was like, well, I'm not really into like fashion and stuff. Like, that's like more you. So I kept writing. Like, here's what I'm wearing. I got it at Target. Like, budget-friendly finds. And the blog name changed a few times. And then it was just like a side thing. Then all of a sudden I got an email from... No, sorry. Instagram became a thing.
Okay, yes.
And then I was like, perfect. I will promote my blog posts through Instagram. So that's how I started sharing like... hey guys, like my denim skirt, go to my blog, like through Instagram.
Okay.
And then I got an email from a brand. I honestly can't even remember how to pronounce the brand. It was like Love Bobo, Love Boo Boo. I don't know.
Okay.
And they were
There's some weird brands.
Yeah, they were
back
like, oh my God, we love your stuff. What would you charge us to style this shirt? And I was like, wait, what?
You're like, I can get paid for this?
Yeah. I was like, I don't know. Like, what's your budget? And they're like, $100. I was like, yes.
You're like, absolutely. I'll take free clothes and money.
Yes. So they sent me $100 check with the shirt that I had to style. I shot it. I wrote about it on the blog. And then that's when I realized, wait, this is a thing? Like,
what year was this?
This was in 2013.
Okay, wow. Yeah, you were early.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like LTK just started.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, that's how they actually found me, was through LTK. Because they were like, we see you sharing, but I would share like my regular, like organic stuff, like Target, whatever I was buying, and I would share it through LTK, and I was making a commission, but it was like, not a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so they found me through there, but I had sales. So they were like, oh, we see that on LTK, you have some sales, like blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay. And that's how it kind of all started. And then I started realizing like, wait, I can monetize this. Like, I know it's not a lot right now, but if I dedicate myself to it, grow my following, keep pushing on LTK, it could become something. And that's how it all started. And then I started being like strategic, like, wait, I'm going to make money from this. So by the time I got to wanting to quit, I was making... not a lot, like maybe $1,000, like a year.
Oh, okay,
like
yeah.
No money.
You're not living off of that. I was like, $1,000 a month's pretty good.
No.
It was
like,
out.
oh my God, I made $1,000 last year.
Yeah.
Like, I just gotta post every day and, like some crazy like strategy. But I was just like so like convinced, like I just have to post more. I just need more followers. And so I really left my job like crazy.
Oh, so this was you left your job after making
my
1,000 in the
husband's
whole year.
You're not making any money.
Girl.
Like, what are you gonna do?
Yes, I love
first year though, so I was making 6 figures at my marketing job. That first year that I quit, I ended up making $40,000 from my blog.
Hell, 1,000 to 40,000.
Yes. When
you speak things into existence.
When I went to my tax guy, it was the same accounting guy that I've always used. he was like, what are you doing? Like, he was like,
you selling stuff on the black market?
he was just like, how did you go from this to this? Like, I went
backwards.
From a salary cut. He was just like, you're crazy. And I was so happy. I was like, I made $40,000. Oh my God. How did I do that? Like, I was so happy that I remember calling my mom, like, I made $40,000. And she was like, okay, like, girl, that's a pay cut.
Right. But like, it was like for being your own boss.
Yes.
Yeah.
I literally made $40,000 from nothing.
That's insane.
In the first year.
Yeah.
And then it's just grown from there. And I'm just like always so proud of myself. Like, most people were like, girl, bye. Like, $40,000. Like, who are you kidding? But to me, it was everything. I was like, I did that from zero.
And I'm fucking happy.
And I'm happy.
Like, I'm working for me. I'm doing what I love. Like, see, people, it's a scarcity mindset. They don't understand that you being happy is the most important thing. Because when we feel good, we manifest well. You can manifest anything. But they're too scared and they don't believe. And they're small-minded and negative. But when you decide what you want, you believe it's possible. Yeah.
And then obviously the salary just kept getting better and better. And I'm just like, wait, what? I mean, I make a full-time living from this now, and I live a comfortable life.
Yeah.
And I'm under 50,000 followers, by the way.
Right.
Like, so wait until
you scale.
Yeah.
It's going up.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I've always had that mindset. But yeah, that's how, did I answer your question?
What was my question?
I feel like I go off on a tangent, but
I forget what my question was.
I know. I talk so much.
This is all good though. I mean, I think this is what inspired me was seeing these women. You were probably one of them, but like looking at the Like to Know It account, and I was like, these women, for me at first, I was like, free handbags and shoes, like sign me up.
Yes.
But I was also so bored at my job, and I had the same thing. People thought I was crazy. My family thought I was crazy. Everybody, because I was known in my community for being like an incredible pianist, and I had the studio and I would perform in a company. Well, yeah, and it seemed like this, prestigious thing that I did, and I was so successful and I was making decent money, and everybody was like, why would you give up you have a master's in this, why would you give up your degrees and your successful career to do this thing that's like, also there was the judge is new, but then the judgment, like, oh, and there's no guaranteed paycheck and this and that and the other, and I was like, I am so unhappy. It doesn't light me up. I want to do things that light me up, and I saw these women who I knew I knew some of them were making money, and I was like, why can't I do that? Like, this is so fun. And I Googled how do you make a blog?
Exactly.
How do you start a blog? And I bought a domain, and I got on WordPress and read the blogs about how to start blogs and like all that stuff. And, I started making money within my first year as well. Yeah. Not much. But then I quit my job, I think completely 2 to 2.5 years in. Yeah. And which is pretty quick compared to like a lot of people's stories.
Oh yeah. It took me I used to do it for fun for a long time. It took me a long time. And it's been 5 years now, like full time. But before that, I'd been doing it for years. But you
monetized really fast.
Yeah. You do. As soon as I quit my job, all of a sudden I started getting emails. I started getting campaigns.
You took that leap of faith.
Yeah. I was like, wait, what? So I always tell my friends, anybody who's like looking for advice, like, what do I do? And I'm just like, whatever you want to do. Yeah. The universe is gonna answer you. Trust me.
I just saw a quote. Was it Joan of Arc? It was some great woman. I love this girl on Instagram, Poems and Peonies, and she literally does master classes on the great women like Marilyn Monroe and Audrey Hepburn, and she had quotes from them, and one was like, act and God will respond accordingly or something. And I was like, hell
exactly how my life has been. Like, just put it out there and it's gonna work out. Like I said, this year I was just like, I want to be on a podcast. I want to talk more about my story. I want to inspire women to just go after it. And then here you come. You're like literally sitting next to me at dinner. Yeah. Like, how? Yeah. Why? Because I said it. Because I said, this is what I want to do.
And you choose to believe. You choose to believe in the impossible being possible, or in crazy things being possible for you. And that is so important. Like, there's the whole trend, joking about being Delulu, but like, honestly, being Delulu's got us where we are today.
Exactly. I am definitely, my friends will say that to me. They're like, we freaking love you because you'll be like, I went to Colombia this summer and I come back and I'm like, I'm going to buy a house in Colombia. It's going to be and they're like, yup, D, do you, boo? Like, we know you're somehow going to find a way to get a house in Colombia. I'm like, I'll figure it out. I got this. And my husband says the same thing to me. I'm like looking at $1 million homes and he's like, how much does that house cost? I'm like, let's just go look at it. Like,
yes.
Let's just go look at it. You never know.
You never know.
He like follows what I say though. He'll be like, all right. Because he's
you
seen
expand
it.
him. Yeah.
He's seen like what I've been able to do with my life. And like, I'm not ready ever.
Well, and I also want to talk about, age. Like,
yes.
How old are you right now?
41.
Yeah. I think this is so incredibly inspiring. Like, that you're also like you got into the influencer space when it was mostly like there was a lot of young girls. There weren't a lot of people who
I was
30.
always the older person. Every event, every trip.
Which you don't look it. I literally thought you were younger than me.
Yeah, no one ever knows until I say it, and then they're just like, "Wait, what?" So I can blend in, which is fine. But I got into I was 35.
That's so
and like not unheard of at that point. Everybody was young. And that was another thing that was against me. Like, wait, you're going to start over at 35, but there's like younger girls, trendier girls, blah, blah, blah. But also there's women like me. Mm-hmm. And that's what I kept telling, like my husband will say like, well, at what point can you stop being an influencer? Like you're going to get older. Like, and I'm like, what about my followers? Like they're aging with me.
Yeah.
Like I have 40-plus-year-old women that come to me. They don't want to be super trendy or like buy super crazy things. Like they come to me for easy style tips. Like they're gonna grow with me.
Yep.
So there's no problem in that. But also you have to be smart too, like where you put your money, invest your money, which once you're now that I'm 41, I'm always thinking about that. Like, all right, well, what am I doing with my money? Mm-hmm. Like, where am I investing it? How can I maybe not do this forever?
Yes, sure. But I think it's so amazing that it's like you don't have limiting beliefs, I think, in any area of your life.
No.
And I think that's what makes you such a clear channel for manifesting. But like so many women, or did you, but you just did the work to dismiss them? Like, did you ever think like, oh, I'm old for this, like it's going to be hard? Or were you just like, nope, there's room for me? I
always will have that doubt. Mm-hmm. I think everybody does, right? Mm-hmm. I had the doubt, but I don't ever let it get me like down. I'm kind of like, well, let me try. And if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. But I'm not going to try because I'm scared.
Yeah.
Like today, I never done a podcast before.
And you dove in.
And I'm just like, okay, whatever, I'll figure it out. Like, that's my mindset too. It's like, I just start it, just do it. Like,
just try.
Just try.
And I love that you had backup plans, so you weren't just being stupid.
No.
Like to advise somebody to like quit their job if they're unhappy, it's like, no, don't just like go quit today.
No.
You gave yourself 6 months.
Yes.
You made a plan so that, because I think before I understood manifestation and just relationship to self and how those two are connected, like I would do things putting myself at great risk, and then I was in fight or flight, and you really don't manifest from fight or flight very well.
Right.
So I love that you made sure you had your back so that you could take these risks, and you weren't in fight or flight during it because you were like, oh my God, I have no money.
Yeah, no, totally. And I've put that on my page too, like have some sort of plan. And girls, from that last post that I did about like how I got here, I got a lot of messages like, oh, I've been wanting to do it, I just don't know what to do. And I tell everybody, make a plan. You can't just dream. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and that's another thing with like manifesting. People think it's like, she's just going to dream about it and it's going to happen. No, you have to make a plan and you have to stick to it and you have to follow it. Like, you can't just be like, oh, this is what's going to happen for me and do nothing about it.
You have to take inspired action.
Yeah, you have to take action, like go for it, but like be responsible, be strategic, and then the universe conspires.
Yeah. It's like literally like it lifts you up and like gives you wings.
The second you do those things, it all ends up coming into fruition.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I love this. Your story is just amazing. And you're just amazing.
Thank you. You are amazing.
Aww,
I'm so glad that we got to connect and everything.
Yeah. Likewise. Is there anything else that you want to just share for anybody listening, anybody who's unhappy or stuck and scared to like take a leap of faith on them, or trust themselves, or trust what they know they want?
I know it's so cliche to be like, if I can do it, you can do it. Mm-hmm. But like literally, like I come from a teenage mom. I was a young mom myself. I'm Hispanic. There's a lot of I'm brown. There's a lot of things that, you know, that you're up against, mm-hmm. that I've been up against. And you just have to believe in yourself. Like, mm-hmm. forget about all the noise. It doesn't matter like what anybody thinks about me. I know who I am and I know I'm going to be successful. Like you have to love yourself. Like if my husband left me tomorrow, I love him to death, but I'm going to be okay because I got me. If my kids stop talking to me, which is like the worst thing that could happen, you know, to a mom, mm-hmm. like I'll figure it out. Like you have to have your own back and you have to cancel the noise.
Cancel the noise.
That's the best way to put it. And like you say, weren't you scared? What did people think? Like, yes, but you cancel it. My own mom was like questioning me.
That's the takeaway from today's episode. Cancel the noise. I mean, there's a million takeaways.
I know. I talk so much.
I can resonate on, I have really gotten very clear on who I will open up to about most things, especially any area I'm vulnerable. I'm very, very picky because I don't want limiting beliefs or fear put in my head. And those people that I like, my parents are an exception, but I've worked on the relationship and we've communicated. And I'm like, I don't want to hear this. Like, I want to be supported and encouraged. And if you are going to say something to discourage me outside of just like wisdom, but I can't, like, we can't have a relationship with
1,000%.
Like, that in it. And so they respect it now.
No, and sometimes people, not your parents, but like a friend, somebody will walk away from you like, oh, you know, people don't want to deal with your boundaries.
Oh, yeah.
Or they'll be like, oh, she's so cutthroat. Like, you're just like, well, you're not positive. I'm out. I'm the same way. And it's hard. It's a hard pill for people to swallow that you're like so easily like, I'm choosing me first, always.
But it's kind.
Yes.
It's kind. It's not nice, but it's kind. And
I love that.
Being kind is nice.
Yes. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
It just confirms like the way that I've been living and like this like kind of rebirth this year for me. Just like you saying that.
Cheers. This was such a good combo.
Yes.
Where can people find you? Because they obviously need to follow you.
Yes. At Love Fashion Friends on Instagram, and my blog's lovefashionandfriends.com, but everything's Love Fashion Friends. Dileiny Baron is my name, and that's my handle, Love Fashion Friends.
Awesome. Well, guys, you know, I link everything in the show notes.
Yes.
But this was such a pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing your story and your energy and your time.